All right, here we go. Live from Hägerström Studios in Sweden, this is ManDate, episode 78 with Con and Kait Moffat, digital marketing professional, taking part as the MBA research thesis on small business growth. I want to thank you, Kait Moffat, for coming on the show. Without further ado, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
All right, well, I'm Kait Moffat, and I am in digital marketing. My love for digital media started when I was 15. I taught myself to code using MySpace and Neopets, and from there, it just kind of escalated. I was doing graphic design and promotion online for local bands, local concerts, that sort of thing, and then I kind of took a different turn, and I went into health sciences in post-secondary education, and I was going to be a nurse. And then once I met someone that became a good friend of mine who works for Red Bull, and I saw how the internet just had such an impact on all of their events, that's when I said, you know what, that's something I want to get involved in. So I went to university in Toronto. I got an honors degree in communications. I then moved to Vancouver, where my first gig was a contract position as online marketing manager, and that's where I kind of started to dabble a lot with the power of social media. I then started working for a startup. They're now Advisor, and they were basically like an Amazon, but for English as a second language course. And that's when I started to really see like the in-depth kind of startup progression, going from start to finish and developing something from the ground up. Once that was finished, my contract, that's when I decided to commit to something on my own. First, it started off just as social media management, and then I realized, you know, there's more to it than that, and if I want to turn this into a full-blown business, I need to be able to add more skills to that, because social media can only pay so much, really, when it's so commonplace now to have that skill. So from there, I just took so many online courses or so many free resources out there. I started to just read and read, and then I built my website on WordPress, and that was also a learning experience, and that's something I added to my skill set. And so I launched the business last January, so January 2014. And I've just really been adding to it ever since. You know, it started off social media, then it moved into more analytical, where I could track more, talk about behaviors, and then it became something that I'm still adding to, and it's still just me, but I've outsourced work. I've got like a web developer who works out of Thailand, naturally, because it's beautiful and it's cheap to live and he can do whatever he wants. And then I've got some web designers, some graphic designers, and the business right now is kind of in a place where it's still a side business, but within the next 5 years I'll be turning it into a full-blown self-employment opportunity.
Fantastic. And if you don't mind telling us, what do you do as your other job?
Pretty much the same thing. I'm a digital marketing strategist, but there's a wide array of clients, and it's really just to help me develop my skill set, for me to feel confident and, you know, professional about the start to finish projects, rather than just having certain elements to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And then could you tell us a little bit about what kind of clients that you have there? Are they more, are they small companies, or are they bigger companies? You don't have to get into any specifics, but who is your target market?
Well, as my Kait Moffat brand is small businesses. I prefer to work with small businesses, someone just getting started. But with my permanent position, they're more large scale, as it is an agency. And so I'm kind of getting the experience on both. But when I do commit full time to my business, I want it to be more small to medium.
Mm-hmm. And how have you found the competition? Is there a lot of digital marketing professionals offering the similar services to you? Is there a lot? Is there not so many?
Yeah, especially with resources like Elance and online job banks, basically for remote workers. My industry is very flooded, and that's why I feel like I need to bring something else to the table, and I need to be able to develop something that sets me apart from that. And so that's where I want to get more into web development and potentially even app development, and just to add that extra element to it, because my industry is in fact so flooded with people similar to me.
Yeah. And so have you already started, Could you tell us a little bit more about what things you've already done to sort of differentiate yourself from the competition?
Well, I like to have more of a personal experience with my clients. I like to be in contact. I like to, Skype. I like to phone. I like to have that constant interaction where oftentimes people will just assign a task and say, here, do it, and then report back when you're done or make payment or whatever. I like to have more of that face-to-face, even if it's, across the world, at least having some sort of interaction that makes it more of a personal experience rather than just, here's the task, get it done.
Now, would you say your business is? I know it's a little bit mixed and match of everything, but what's the biggest chunk of your business makeup? Is it the social media management? Is it the web design? What is your bread and butter, the big ticket item?
Definitely social media. Because I've been doing it technically for so long, I've kind of seen the development and how it's progressed and how it's now different from what it was before. And so social has always kind of been my thing, and especially now it's changing so much, even just over the next year, that's something I always stay on top of with the algorithms and the analytics, and that's something that I really enjoy doing.
Hmm. Now, could you tell us a little bit about your business strategy? As you're the sole proprietor, you're the boss, you're the owner, you're the employee, you're everything all in one. Could you tell us sort of about your business strategy or managerial strategy, how you get things done, and how you manage your time with this?
Well, especially when I was working on it just as my sole business, when it was just all that I was doing, it was a lot of referral work. Because my social following is larger, I was able to get a lot of my clients through referrals. And so working from home or anywhere which I decided to work, it was more of just setting alarms, especially, and using tools like Trello and just keeping my projects in order, especially Trello, because I had a web developer in Thailand and then somebody else, my graphic designer in Ontario, and then I was also driving across the country at the time. It just really helped keep everybody on task and in tune with who was working on what, and then being able to prioritize. So it's really just staying on top of everything and knowing that you are going to commit 18 hours a day to it, and just putting your foot down when it needs to be put down, and biting the bullet, I guess, when you have to wake up at 5 in the morning to get something done because you got a client overseas. That's just it's that self-discipline, I guess, and the willpower to be able to just know that it's something that you are capable of doing, so you just have to do it.
Right. Now, where are you based out of?
Right now I'm in Calgary, Alberta.
You're in Calgary. Okay, no, that's perfect. And then, so what would you say would be your biggest strength?
Strengths, my ability to communicate with the client and get exactly what they want. I don't leave anything ambiguous. I make sure that I know what they want before I get started on anything, rather than assuming I know. And that's all I ever see in my industry, is especially with any kind of design work or even content. I mean, if you don't communicate properly with the client, even if it's difficult, I mean, you could end up giving them something that was entirely not what they wanted, and then you just have to restart or deal with a bad experience. And so that communication, I think, really helps me just make sure I do what is needed.
Yeah. Now, you've talked about how this is just a part-time gig for the moment. In the next 5 years, you would like to turn it into a full-time thing. Could you tell us a little bit more about your business growth plans and some of your strategies and how you plan to achieve those strategies?
Well, right now I'm enrolled with a computer science course with Stanford online, and so that's helping me get like a good fundamental base for programming, and so that will help me a lot in the web development. And then I was doing courses with Ladies Learning Code. If you may have heard of that, it's just getting women and young girls into coding and engineering and stuff like that. And so it was a nice incentive for me to get involved with that. And then just learning as much as I can. I mean, with so many available resources like Udemy and Coursera, I mean, I just want to learn as much as possible. And even if it's a little bit of everything, it'll just help me add more to what I have to offer. And so in terms of growth, yeah, within the next 5 years, I hope to have a solid base of programming knowledge and coding and probably web design as well. And so just really using those online resources to build that so I can do more than just the marketing.
So, do you plan to stay as a one-woman shop here and just sort of learn how to do everything, or would you plan on maybe partnering up with someone and expanding that way? Or
I think my goal is probably to have all remote workers because it's easier I find to just assign and to communicate and to project manage than it is to partner with someone in the physical. So I guess I'd still like to stay in a managerial role, but I would definitely like to bring in some remote workers and get that diversity.
yeah, that's actually that seems like a really good strategy. So you're sort of like, if I have it right, you're sort of getting well versed in every single realm of the business, and then you're going to sort of get remote workers to do it, but you'll be able to understand and comprehend everything and
Mhm.
manage it from that point of view, but
Yeah,
be able to delegate the work out.
yeah.
And then, so if you're going to stay as the project manager, is there going to be a limit to the amount of clients you can take on and sort of work that you can take on?
I'm sure there are limitations, but I guess because I know I had four at one time, and that was 18-hour days. But that's also because they were very needy clients, and so it really depends. I think it's going to be a play-by-ear type of thing. If one client is, a huge project, then if it occupies all my time, it occupies all my time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of what comes in.
And is there a certain? I know your clients are small business. Is there a certain area or niche market you want to operate in, or is it just any kind of small business that needs any kind of help?
Yeah, it really is any small business. I mean, from retail to startup to tech to I did a furniture designer that was overseas. It's really just it depends on their needs, I guess. If all they want is a community manager, then that's only pretty much an hour a week. And then, but if somebody wants a full website design, a website build, digital strategy, all that, and so because they're a brand new company, I'll take that too.
Hmm. Now, could you tell us a few things that may be barriers or obstacles in your way of achieving these goals, both internally within the company and sort of externally in the environment?
It really is just finding the time, because I tend to take on a lot of projects and then finding the time to actually complete them. Um, and then yeah, I think time is really my only barrier. It's and then I guess the motivation. Some days I may not be motivated to sit down for 5 hours to learn programming, and so just finding the balance, work-life balance, I think, and being able to still sit back and relax at some points rather than just trying to cram everything into a day.
Yeah. Yeah, and then could you tell us a little bit about some obstacles or barriers that are in the marketplace or in the competitive environment?
Yeah, that's kind of why it's a side biz right now, is because I feel like I need more in order to set me apart from all the people that are very similar to me. And so, yes, I can still do, I mean, especially through referrals, I can do the digital strategies, the web builds, and the marketing and the social and stuff. But I feel in order for it to thrive as a full business, I need to be able to bring more to the table. So that would be what I need to do in order to break out of from within the competition.
Hmm. Now, as I just want to get your opinion on the industry in general. Do you see social media management and web management? Do you still see that as extremely necessary as more people learn how to code and more people sort of figure out how to do it on themselves with all these platforms like Shopify or Weebly or even WordPress? Do you still see a lot of people in the future are going to have a strong need for digital marketing professionals?
Well, I think it's going to be imperative, but it's going to be more something that's across all areas of a company. I think it's going to be something that everyone will need to know how to do. But I mean, the search engines are always changing, the social environments are always changing. And so I think it's just going to be more commonplace. It's just going to be yeah, more widespread throughout companies. It's not going to be one person managing the whole thing. I think in order to stay above ground and against your competitors, it's going to be everyone's going to need to be involved with it.
Mhm. Now, does living in Calgary, does that have any sort of play in your business at all? Does it matter where you are? Like you said, you got a guy in Thailand and he can do everything from his computer. Did you choose Calgary specifically, or could you be in Timbuktu and still
Yeah,
operate the same way?
really. I moved to Calgary from Vancouver because the economy out there just wasn't what I wanted, and then starting the business from scratch while I was there, it just wasn't feasible for me to stay in Vancouver. And so
Mm.
I came here to, get something within my field in order to facilitate that momentum in order to grow my own side business. And I'm sure Calgary isn't the end place, but just having the biz allows me to travel and figure out where exactly I want to end up.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I mean, I think that's all the questions I had for you. If there's any questions you had, or if there's anything else you wanted to say about your company or the industry itself, now's the time to do it.
I don't think I have any questions.
Well, it seems like you have a pretty good head on your shoulders. You seem to know what you want. You seem to know how you're going to go after and do it. And it seems like you have a pretty good strategy to establish yourself in the digital marketing
Oh, thank you.
industry. So with that, I would like to conclude this interview. I'll just sign off, and we can have a quick chat
Oh,
afterwards. And so thank you for everyone who's been listening, and this has been ManDate with Con and Kait Moffat. Check her out at katemoffat.com. See you next time.